Hey, everybody. 250th anniversary of the USA.
Cheers.
We're celebrating on Insurance 360 this week.
USA.
There's so much cool stuff going on. I mean, listen, 4th of July in general, big fan of the holiday, a lot of good stuff going on. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But you throw in there, it's the 250th anniversary of our country. Pretty cool.
I mean, you look at, I have a very small sample size of that 250 years. I may not look it with the gray hair, but it's kind of wild to think, you see some of the crazy stuff about the history and all and I'm sure we're going to talk about that today. This is a fun episode.
Yeah, exactly. And to boot, America has taken over the entire airways of the world with the U.S. having the World Cup in the United States. How can you not be watching and enjoying that?
First time since what, 94?
Yeah, it's been a while since it's been here, which isn't atypical. I mean, it roams around, so you only get it every so often. But the U.S. is definitely crushing it with the World Cup,
and we're winning.
And somehow we're good. We became good, and nobody was paying attention, I guess. I don't know. So if anybody didn't see, the U.S. just made it to the round of 16. So 16 teams left, the U.S. being one of them. They got to play Belgium. Tough matchup, but everybody's a tough matchup. At this point, you get into the final 16. You're not going to get any softballs thrown at you.
Look, obviously, I want USA to win. Go USA, but I think pick France because they were the top, they were the best odds.
Good way to go out on a limb on that one there. France,
and I don't know soccer. That's not my forte. But yeah, how do you not root for the home team?
Yeah, 100%. And soccer's just, people don't realize that it's pretty much taken over the United States as well. A lot of people didn't grow up maybe with soccer. You got baseball, you got basketball, football. We got a lot of sports here, like other countries maybe aren't as diverse in the amount of sports that are taking over the airwaves. But when you look at the youth programs right now, soccer is where it's at. I mean, that's where you're getting more adoption in the younger generations than really anything. Baseball has become the sport that for most kids is too slow.
Yeah.
Standing out in right field, picking daisies, just not as fun as, at least you get a chance to run around if you're playing soccer, chase the ball, maybe slide tackle somebody, all acceptable behaviors in soccer.
I actually played soccer when I was a kid. I played goalie, and I played indoor and outdoor. And I was a chubby kid. My dad wanted me to lose weight. So he's like, how do I do that while also getting you tired? And they threw me in goal, and I wasn't too bad. I wasn't quick, but the ball didn't go by me very easily.
There you go.
It was fun.
Yeah, and just a couple of things I'm going to throw out there because there is still some mentality around soccer and some hating that goes on with it, especially for individuals that didn't grow up playing it. So a couple of things let me just throw out there. First off, not enough scoring in soccer. So, yeah, I get it. There's usually a low-scoring game. The U.S. won their last game 2-0, 3-2, 2-1. Like, these are all typical scores. But let me point out something that doesn't get recognized in much. Think football, Rob. So what's a typical score you would say in football?
21-14?
Right.
Something
so
like that.
Technically, 21-14 is 3 scores for one team and 2 scores for the other team.
Yeah.
And they just have a bunch of made-up points besides that because 3 touchdowns, a touchdown, 7 points. So really it's 3-2.
Yeah.
Is a typical score if you take out the extra made-up points that somehow you can give in a touchdown. So just remember, football scoring typically is not as high as you think. Just because it's 21-14, it's 3-2.
Here's my only issue right now with soccer, and it's because I don't understand the rules enough. The clock. Because they don't count down, they count up, right? And is it 90 minutes is the full game,
90,
and then there's overtime?
Yeah, so 45-minute halves, but there's, timeouts, if you would, right? Somebody gets hurt or the ball goes out of play. The referee has the opportunity to say, hey, there was a delay of 5 minutes, so we got to add those 5 minutes back. It's almost like baseball in a way. So baseball's 9 innings, but there's really no time on it, right?
Yeah.
Those innings, that game could be 2 hours, could be 3 hours, depending on what's going on. So same thing sort of with soccer. There's, it's technically 45-minute halves, but if you're looking at the clock, it could look like there's more time, but really the referee has made a determination that there was some dead time in there at some point.
Yeah.
He's still saying 45 minutes of actual play time is what's being determined.
So no matter what, it's still 45-minute halves.
Exactly.
And then it's, the extra time really isn't extra time. It's more or less because soccer games, which also freaks me out, can just end in a tie too. Like normal games, football could technically end in a tie, but if it's playoffs, they can't. But with soccer, they can, right?
They can sometimes, but once you get into this part of the World Cup, not getting too much soccer talk here, this point of the World Cup, they will have a penalty shootout because you have to have a winner in each game to move on to the next round.
There was a penalty shootout I think I saw yesterday, right? Who was it between?
There's been a couple so far. So listen, they're not going to play forever. Eventually they'll go to the penalty shootout, somewhat like hockey. Go to the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
At times. So it can end up in that realm. One of the other things about soccer, and again, people always say, "Oh man, that was a dive." There's a little gamesmanship they call it in soccer.
They flop a lot, is what I heard.
Let me just point out this to somebody who likes all sports, and I'm not hating on anything. Try and watch an NBA game. See how much flopping. Just count the flops. Get a little ticker and count the flops.
It's gotten so bad. It's gotten so
Try
bad.
and watch LeBron for more than 5 minutes and see how many times he falls down with nobody touching him.
Well, you know what? I will say during the playoffs, I'm a basketball guy. During the playoffs, they did actually start to call penalties on the flopper, which I think they're trying to stop it because it just makes the game so
hockey did it the best. Hockey actually has a penalty if you simulate. So if you dive, you can actually get a penalty for it, and it's completely taking it out of the game for the most part. So you don't get a lot of that in hockey. So I don't know. Food for thought. There's crazy. I guess the bottom line is crazy rules in all different sports, and if you want to dissect them all, the soccer experience in the World Cup has really been great, and being in America has really just, I think, elevated it. I think it's just crazy how exciting it's been.
Yeah.
You see all these watch parties everywhere. We've been literally taken over by people of all these other countries. And if you haven't been paying attention, just go on something like a YouTube and watch some of the videos out there. There's some of the funniest, craziest, exciting videos of people from other countries all coming together, having a great time, celebrating the World Cup, but also celebrating America. It's been beautiful. I mean, I think if there's any one takeaway, it's that people across the world generally will get along with each other. That's not the governments of the countries along the world. The governments, that's a different topic. But people generally get along. Give them some soccer. Give them some beer. Give them some Texas barbecue. Man, they're loving life.
I don't know if you saw this, but the big thing with other countries being here, and TSA actually had to make a comment publicly. People are obsessed with ranch sauce.
The ranch dressing and stuff, yeah.
TSA actually had to make a comment saying if you're going to be bringing ranch back with you, you have to make sure it's in your checked luggage.
You can't bring the big jug of ranch dressing in the carry-on. And that's what people were trying to do.
And it's wild that, because the guy that created ranch sauce, it was Hidden Valley Ranch. It was like his ranch, and he made it, and he had a restaurant on his ranch that he served it in, and it got so popular that he started to allow a restaurant or a bar that was by him to sell it.
Wow.
And then eventually, which I didn't even know this, Clorox bought the recipe from him and the name of the ranch for the sauce for $8 million. And this was a long time ago.
That's crazy.
But think about that. That's kind of wild that
my gosh.
Clorox was like, yeah, this might be a good food idea, you know?
Genius. But what's interesting out of all this is, did anybody else know that the world doesn't have ranch dressing?
I had no idea.
Like
to be
this,
honest.
like this was shocking to me.
Like, what do you guys eat with wings?
Seriously, do you not have wings? Is blue cheese not known as well? Like, is it just ranch? Like, these were all interesting questions that have come up from the World Cup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just other countries,
And the videos have been wild. I mean,
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of the videos where it's some Japanese fans and they're having like Texas barbecue for the first time, and you've never seen somebody so excited. I would wager that if that individual was videotaped at the birth of his children, he was not as excited as he was at that barbecue being brought out to him, because it was hilarious.
The other one that went viral was the other guy that was like, yeah, I can't speak English, but I am so excited.
I cannot speak English, but I'm excited.
Yeah, baby!
Japan.
Japan, baby! Look, I just lit. It's
And you could see like the joy and how
it's
happy he
great.
was.
It's
And
great.
Japan played pretty well, but they lost a heartbreaker. didn't they?
Yeah, they were a good team. Honestly, they were a solid team. But everybody's good at this point.
Yeah.
You're just, all the good teams are going to start getting knocked out at some point, and that's kind of where we are right now. The other thing is, did you see the Scottish people took over Boston, and they actually were there was so much drinking going at the bars that the bars were running out of beer.
the World Cup buzz has led to a lot of beer sales. Some bars are actually running out. Scotland and Norway fans are a big reason why.
You guys are drinking this whole city dry. You know that?
Yeah. We were in Cheers Bar yesterday for 2 pints and we stayed for 20.
And there was a big thing about this. The Scottish people were talking about how they had to switch to wine and other things because the bars were running out of beer, which is just beautiful.
Well, all I'm saying is, where's the Irish at, man? Where are you guys?
Well, the Irish didn't make the World Cup, so that's why they weren't here.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
Scotland made it. England made it, but you didn't have Wales. You didn't have Ireland making it this year. When you're talking about that area.
So at least, I guess it could have been worse, maybe. I don't know. But that's actually hilarious. I saw a bunch of videos of them just kind of like walking down the streets, and there's just tons of Scottish people.
Yeah, I saw. And did you see there was a couple of? There was one specifically where an English person walks into Walmart and he's videotaping Walmart, and he's talking about how excited he is that all this stuff is there. He's like, I could buy an air gun over here, and then I can buy waffles over here. And listen, I think I try to appreciate what we have here in America.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely the greatest country in the world, and we all, sometimes probably take some things for granted. But looking through, some of these videos, I didn't realize we're taking Walmart too much for granted.
Walmart ranch. I mean,
Walmart ranch
gonna
dressing.
eat more ranch, I guess.
These are the things that are blowing the mind of individuals, and the cities in general. I mean, you look at the cities; they're having these parties. I saw. I want to say it was like Croatian fans were down in Philadelphia, and there was a wedding going on, and the wedding pictures were getting taken outside, and they invaded the wedding pictures, and you have. The bridegroom, bridesmaids, they're all jumping up and down with the Croatian fans, and it was just like a huge celebration. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just great stuff. And 4th of July, 250th year, the world celebrating together the United States. I mean, could it come together any better than that?
And the World Fair, right? I think the World Fair is going on now too.
I don't have room for more. I think that's all. That's all I can handle at this point.
A lot of patriotism going on, and it's
know,
not just America, right? It's everybody, and it's fun to see, man.
Yeah, people are people, and that's just the way it is. And listen, we all have our challenges and whatnot, but I think, looking at what's going on, it just reinforces that maybe the media, social media, a lot of the stuff that everybody looks at, which is doom and gloom all the time,
Very divisive.
it's probably not the reality of most of what's going on in our country, which is just people enjoying life and living their lives and families and all this other stuff, which just makes America as great as it is. And the diversity in America, most of Europe could fit in America, which people don't realize the size. So when Europeans think like, oh, why don't Americans go to other countries? Well, listen, if you're in France and you go to England, that's like us going from, Pennsylvania to Ohio. It's like the same distance. You just happen to have it as other countries where we have other states. So we have hot weather, we have cold weather, we have skiing, we have snorkeling down in Florida. You can go to the West Coast, you can go to the East Coast. Like, we just have so much going on here in the country that, listen, I'm not saying don't go to other countries and explore, but America's got a lot to offer, and that's why. And I think people don't realize that. Our states are almost like their own countries half the time.
Yeah,
which
they're all different. They all have their own pros and cons and different things that you can do. Like, if you want to gamble, man, you can go to my favorite place, Vegas.
Yeah, exactly. You want to go? You don't have to go to Monaco, right?
Yeah.
If you're in England, you're gonna go to Monaco. We just go to Vegas.
Let's go to Vegas.
We're AC.
Baby.
Listen, we're close to AC here.
Could drive
Atlantic City, we can just drive to.
It's not as fun.
It's not AC,
Not
but
as-
still
not as fun.
not terrible.
Yeah,
not terrible. It's
can't
got
complain.
some stuff. Yeah, it's got some slots or whatever you can play there. So good stuff there. Was just thinking about this. We're talking about putting this podcast together, and we're just going to kind of talk about some of the stuff that's going on, the positive stuff that's going on in our country. But just thinking about it, who would be the individual in history that would be a great podcast guest for us? I didn't throw this one by, but I was thinking about this as I was coming into the room here today to get set up. I'm thinking it's like, Ben Franklin.
Ben Franklin would be
he's
the
like
perfect
discovering
Philadelphia
stuff.
guy.
He's creating a country. He's flying kites and discovering electricity. He's doing all these kind of things. I'm sure he's got some great stories, behind the scenes stuff.
So, funny thing about Ben Franklin, and I got this from I follow a couple history people on TikTok, and she has funny stories. And Jefferson, I believe it was Jefferson, wrote about this in his journal. That's where they got it. So him and Ben Franklin were traveling from Philadelphia to New York, and they stopped at an inn, and it was packed, and they only had one room. So they had to sleep in the same bed together. And these guys were polar opposites. So Ben Franklin, was all about this new age thing that he was trying to create called air bathing, where
Interesting.
every day he would walk around for 15 minutes or a half hour, whatever, with no clothes on, right? And Jefferson was a germaphobe, and he believed that the air would create sickness. So you have these two guys who are sleeping in the same bed in a hotel, basically, bunking together. And these are two revolutionary people of our country, and they're fighting with each other about if the windows should be open or not. Because Jefferson was afraid that the air would come in and pollute the room. And meanwhile, and it's funny because a lot of people didn't bathe as much back then because they thought it was not good for you. So people were a little smellier back then, but those were the times. But could you just imagine our founding fathers, two of them fighting with each other about the window being open or closed?
Listen, this is real life, man. They were going through it. When you look at the founding fathers and you look at the individuals at that time that were starting our country, these are, I don't know, I want to say normal people, but these are people that, listen, they had some crazy ideas for the time.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, without crazy ideas, you don't get crazy results, right? Ordinary ideas give you ordinary results. So if you want to inspire to something bigger and better, you've got to have those crazy ideas. And you look at what they accomplished, right? So they were coming from a situation where, there was a king and, one person sort of like made all the rules and decisions. So They were like, listen, that doesn't work, right? We need representation for the people. But we know people in general can go a little bit sideways. So we're not gonna say it's full democracy. So they created our system of, the three branches, and you had the legislative and the judicial branch and the executive branch, and they sort of all were going to keep an eye on each other, make sure nobody went sideways. You have states' rights, which again, not a true democracy because it's not one person making just the decisions for the entire country. We've seen it where the president can say one thing and the states can say, well, we're not doing it quite that way.
Yeah.
Right? States have rights. They have to follow the Constitution. They can't, be against the Constitution, but they can certainly make decisions that are different than what the executive branch says. So some of these ideas were just genius, where they didn't just say, well, we're just going to have a democracy. They were like, this is a big country. We can't just let, some group of numbnuts take over and then they're in charge of everything. And
then we'll be right back to where
and then we'll be right
started.
back to, mob rule or something. So if 51%, elect this person and it's this crazy person, there's no checks and balances, then everybody else is going to suffer.
Yeah.
Right. So just brilliant people. They weren't perfect because they're people.
Plus, too, their age ranges were crazy. I mean, you had 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and then you had 35, 40-year-olds. I mean, you had nobody really. I don't think anybody was in their 60s or 70s. I mean, these were young people by our standards now, making these decisions that I don't think they realize just how crazy of a decision that they were doing and making, and look where we are now. Yeah,
listen, it's genius. It's worked out for 250 years. It's been great. But I love the idea that the rest of the world is celebrating us, Rob. I mean, there's so much history that goes into it. I mean, obviously, we're 250 years old. Europe's a little older than us, right?
You guys by a little bit.
They're a little bit older than us, but they're not better.
Definitely not better.
They don't have ranch dressing.
What's funny? So I have a fun fact here that
What do you got?
I was doing some stuff. So I didn't know this, but apparently most of the signatures of the Declaration of Independence was signed on July 2nd.
Oh.
So John Adams was actually convinced that July 2nd would be the holiday. But it turns out that it wasn't officially everyone signing until July 4th, and that's what kind of.
Well, listen, everybody didn't have DocuSign back then. They probably had to, they were coming on a horse and, in a carriage from, wherever they were coming from. They're all getting together.
I couldn't even imagine that,
travel wasn't the same. There's probably other, issues going on there,
Could you imagine being in the heat wave that we're in now and you don't have any AC? And not only that, your travel is, if it's, half hour for us now, it could have been 5 hours for them back in the day. I'm going to go to the White House, and it's like, by the time you get there, you're just sweating constantly.
That actually, you saying that, I'm thinking of this. Over the years, we've had some great inventors of things.
Yeah.
So AC's got to be up there as one of the greatest inventions ever. And that's one of the things that they talk about in Europe where, listen, you don't just have AC, going on. And that's something that we take for granted here. Like we just have air. Even I think when I was growing up, I don't think my house had central air conditioning. It sounds crazy at this point. If you ask kids these days to live without air conditioning, they don't know what they would do.
I change my temperature now for my house on an app on my phone, which, by the way, has revolutionized, me and my temperature of the house. But I couldn't imagine not having the ability to do that now. Like it is,
it's
you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
You could be laying in bed and go, I feel a little warm. Let me turn this down.
Oh,
and now you can do that.
100%. Another great one I'm just thinking of because we were talking about travel. GPS. It's just a great invention. I don't know who invented GPS, but thank you. Was it the Google people?
I don't know who it was, but I think I'm going to date us when I say, do you remember having the Garmin in your car?
Garmin, yeah. I remember having the map books. You used to buy the map books and, you're like penciling out like, oh, You know, I got to
Map
I got to get
quest.
off of 95 and jump on this road and then go to this road. When we were actually talking today about we use GPS even when you know where you're going,
Yep.
just to make sure that there's not traffic issues because it'll take you a better way.
Yeah.
That's genius. We all got stuff in traffic all the time.
And this was like unheard of 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like, that's one thing I can say. And I mean, with all the stuff with AI, you know, we talk about this on the show all the time. Actually, Anthropic just was allowed to bring Fable 5 back, which is the highest end of their models. There was apparently some issues with
Them taking over the world or something,
Yeah,
creating the Terminator.
well, it was actually they were worried that foreign entities were going to take advantage of it and use it for bad. So that they took that export thing out and they were able to bring it back. This was maybe yesterday or the day before, which is cool. And it's powerful, man. It's some pretty cool stuff.
That's great. That's great, man. All right. Any more fun facts for us?
Let's see. Americans, did you know this? Americans eat about 150 million hot dogs on the 4th of July. I guess that's the number one food that people eat for 4th of July.
Hot dogs.
I'm a
hot dogs on
hamburger man
a
myself.
grill. I mean, it's great. Don't think about how they're made. Don't watch any videos on how hot dogs made. They're just good. Just eat it. Just put it on the grill. They are.
It is a grilled hot dog is
Yeah,
unlike anything else.
It's just good stuff. You know.
So 3 U.S. presidents died on July 4th. John Adams,
Oh.
Thomas Jefferson, and James Monroe. So a lot of the founding fathers just happened
Probably
to
eating too many hot dogs on July 4th.
that or beer, one or the other. Now, one thing I didn't know, and this is a Philadelphia fact. Did you know that Philadelphia served as the U.S. capital from 1790 to 1800 while Washington, D.C. was being built?
Yeah, I did. I
didn't know that.
I did remember that from history. But yeah, we were the capital for just a little bit, but bragging rights.
Now, I myself like to Google random things, and I forgot. I'm like, why do they call it Washington, D.C.? Right? Why is it a district, and why is it not a state? And it's because D.C. is owned by the government, so that no state has any sort of jurisdiction, because then you'd have kind of this jockeying match, which, you know, honestly, I had no idea. There's a lot of things you forget.
This is
from
why
history.
for all the people out there who are not up on their civics, why they're not being made a state. Because there's always that argument like, hey, they should be a state because, you know, the electoral college and, you know, voting and everything. There's reasons for all of this. You just have to find what they are, and they make sense because that's the federal government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, my last one here, and this is just a pure straight Philly fact that I honestly didn't even know, but you know, they call us the city of brotherly love.
Absolutely.
Do you know why they call us that?
You know what? I don't.
It comes from Greek language. So philos means love, and adelphos means brother.
Interesting.
And I had no idea that was a thing. So those are our facts of the day.
Listen,
Philly's just we're all about
love. Yeah, we're all about coming together, especially this time of year. This year, especially, you know, everybody's going to be out there, you know, shooting their fireworks, watching fireworks shows, watching the World Cup, all that kind of fun stuff.
We spend $1 billion a year on fireworks. By the way,
my
another
God.
fact that I'm like, think about that. Not like $1 million, not like $100 million. $1 billion in America we spend on fireworks just to blow crap up, which is cool. I mean,
Just
I
be
love fireworks.
careful. Not a lot. Don't drink while you're playing with the fireworks, right? A lot of people with, you know, 8, 9 fingers out there.
Yeah,
you know,
don't blow a thumb off.
You don't want
trying to throw a
any trips
firecracker.
to the emergency room for sure. Yeah, no, that's all fun stuff. A lot of great stuff going on. Just remember, you know, be safe, but it's a great time. If you're not watching the World Cup, I just maybe you don't watch it at your house. Go to one of the watch parties, right? I think just getting involved with it is just super fun right now. And go USA because they look good.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come.
I don't know. Belgium might be in trouble.
Well,
We'll have to see.
after that red card, I don't know, man. That's kind of puts us a little bit in a hole. But
BS call. BS. BS red card. Come on now. If his name was Messi, he wouldn't have got that card.
yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I digress. All right, everybody. Have a great 4th of July. Rob,
Sir?
make sure we all come back without any injuries.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
do-
Go America.
USA. USA. Do your certifications, people.